The dumb Belgians.
They don't know. I've never heard of that before, and I've been to Belgium, to Antwerp, I've been to the forests at Bernau, I've been to many places in Belgium. We've always gone out for lunch, for dinner. Maybe they're the people who live in the south of Holland, and they just go for day trips or something, you know. But
I tell you what happened. It's you know, he said this about the Dutch people. You know, I mean, really, what he was saying is that you're very stingy, right? Well, you know, we tend to say what?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you. Because you know, the thing is, we tend to say about others what holds true for ourselves. Now he's the stingiest man I know. So I mean, I lived with him for.
Maybe he should look in the mirror.
Great advice.
Now, Dutch people like going out for food to eat. We love the Belgian fries.
Oh, I'm so glad you say that. Yeah, that was his favorite. He even bought a frying machine, and then even like, you know, from the potatoes he had like this tool, you know, to crush it through a machine, and then, you know, the fries would come out, and then he would fry it and, you know, make a whole, really a mess.
See, we go out and buy them.
I love you. You go out and buy them. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, sometimes people, if they talk about, you know, why talk about other people? We all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. I think he has a hang up maybe with himself. You know, like I've lived here for 49 years, and I basically live in restaurants.
Well, you told me because you travel, and, you know, to be quite honest, he does too, because he traveled a lot, and well, there's a lot to be resolved, and I need to tell you this. I'm taping this again because this you know, you're much better to say these things than me, because if I say it, he's just like wall. And maybe if he hears it out of somebody else's mouth, you know, he will be more open. But, you know, as a man, are you a father? Do you have a daughter, right?
My daughter is 42. She's got 7 children.
Oh my goodness! 7 children.
I'm a grandfather.
Yeah, and just one daughter.
Yeah, one daughter. She lives not far from Sydney, inland.
Mm-hmm.
From here, it's about 900 kilometres.
Right.
From my from my house in Melbourne, it's 900 kilometres.
Right. And is her mom still alive?
Yeah, her mum actually lives with her. She is 65.
Right. And yeah. And do they get along?
Oh yeah. My mum, her mum actually works for 2-3 days a week with the kids. You know, help with the washing, the cleaning, the tidying, like a nanny. Yeah, live-in nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So you know, I will use this if you allow me, you know, to point this out to him, that, you know, there are people who get a divorce, and the children, they have access to both parents. Now I have like, you know, he played my children against me already when we were still together, because I'm sure he sensed something, you know, was not right. And now, you know, my family here in Germany does exactly the same thing, you know. But of course, you know, we come from a background of financial and sexual crime. And I know that I poke at them, I scratch at them, because I want to talk about it. Because I want this to stop.
What do you talk about? Sorry, I didn't get that.
About the crimes, you know, we lived our life based on financial crimes. My ex-husband, the father of my children, and my father, well, they were betraying the government in America and in Germany. And they were also betraying one another. And I was always stuck in the middle, which is why I fell apart. So my children, they, you know, growing up, they saw me pretty much being a mess. I fell apart. I didn't know how to be, because I wasn't allowed to study. I wasn't allowed to earn my own living. If I tried anything on my own, like, I wanted to go scuba diving, and I earned that, later. And then when...
You sure he's not a Muslim?
All right, what would make him a Muslim? I don't know. Oh, because he doesn't allow me. He didn't allow me to do all these things.
Yeah, if you don't have freedom, that's what the Muslims do. And in Yugoslavia, the woman is basically like, sit down and shut up and go in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's don't we have equal rights?
Oh, I'm glad you're saying this and not me.
Well, a man today would not get away with that anymore, because women stand up for themselves, and if you don't accept it, you fall behind. So he's basically falling behind.
Well, he
because
fell.
most women here in Australia, they would say, "Get stuffed."
Well, yeah. You know what? I did that too in our marriage, and because I did, I'm the bad person, because I did fight it like crazy. So my kids saw that, and especially my daughter, of course. It's like I was fighting her dad, her favorite. Because I wanted to do a lot of things and get out and earn my own living and be my own person. And he just wouldn't talk with me at all about how we could make it work. So I know that I also did things like I looked for a job for about a year behind his back. Yeah. Oh. So well, what was I supposed to do? And then from one day to the next, I said, well, you know what? I got this job. I'm going out to work now. And I was kind of helping him out in his company. Only he had a mentor, and this mentor said that I really shouldn't be there, which I knew that the two were also talking alone, and I don't know what they said about me behind my back, but definitely not good things. And so that's why I looked for a job, and then from one day to the next, of course, we needed to find a way with the kids, and he needed to find a new accountant. Ha ha. I know that I heard him in that way, but then he didn't talk with me. So yeah. What's a human being to do? To just be crunched in the corner.
We're supposed to work together.
Yeah. Well, it takes two to do that, right? And also, two to be open to live their lives differently, because we were living our life in a certain way. We had everything. My father passed away, and suddenly we had no job. We had no more cars. We lost everything, and of course, we needed to change. But then, it's like, I created the company that he was then working for. I did all the footwork. I convinced him for 6 months. And then he started the job with the money of my brother. And then the two of them teamed up, and they said, well, you're not working with us. I wasn't allowed to work. And they wouldn't share any information. They were calm. But I had no idea where the money was coming from. I didn't know how to feed my children. So that's why I broke down. I fell apart. I was a mess.
What business was it? What business?
What
type of?
Freight forwarding. Shipping.
Freight forward?
Shipping, yeah.
You can make good money in that if you work hard.
Yeah, you must work really. Not really, not in freight forwarding, unless you screw people. That's the Europeans, especially the Germans. Let's say the Germans. The Germans are the biggest crooks in America, especially with the shipping business. And you would not believe that. There's a thing called consolidations. In consolidations, right, you can smuggle all kinds of things without anybody ever noticing, because it's you collect all kinds of merchandise and you put it in one container. And I know that the owner of the company my father worked for, and my father was that company. Well, he smuggled weapons to Iran that way, and drugs from South America into Germany. They were crooks like you would not believe. Now, my father knew about it, he suspected. He didn't know. They didn't talk about it. But he told me that this is what was going on. and they did embezzlement, they racketeering, they withheld taxes left and right, money laundering by sending invoices back and forth, for freight that was never moved. They were betraying both governments, and I know that America is now fighting back here in Germany because Daimler already had to pay 60 million for something that is legal in Germany and illegal in America, which is like, they bought big gifts for customers in America, which, to get business. You're not allowed to do that. And here in Germany, my brother, he became a millionaire doing that with the help of my father. And that actually is a mole company. It's a company financed through another company. And I want to speak about that. It's not okay. It's like we are all intertwined. Where when there's money, that's where the money stays. So people outside that have no chance. Well, I'm outside of it now, and but I'm really outside everything. So now I'm trying to.
So you totally had no control over anything.
Nothing. Nothing.
And is the company still going?
Well, actually, that company that I noticed that my ex-husband, he's not an entrepreneur. I'm the entrepreneur. He's not. So I asked him to sell it. He wouldn't, and eventually we divorced. And now the company is sold, and he works for another company, and he's much better doing that because he's not a leader. He can't take anyone working with him, next to him, who is as smart as he is. He needs somebody who is less capable than he is. Then he's okay. And I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I'm the leader. I can take over the country. I can take over the world.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I was born like that.
Yeah.
You have followers and you have leaders.
Yes.
And when I had my painting business, at lunchtime we all used to sit, there's 7 guys there, and I always thought, now here's this little fella from Holland who came here to Australia, and these 7 Australians are working for this little fella from Holland, And I always thought, why couldn't they do it? But they are not leaders, they are followers.
Yes, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because if we had a world full of leaders, it wouldn't work. Somebody who's leading is somebody, I can feel this in you because you're very empathic. You can listen. Well, you are listening, and you have a real big heart. You're open for anything. Yeah. And I'm like that.
If you don't listen, then you don't learn. But I used to be a talker, but I've learned that when I go I've got 2 shops here in this town which I supply, and sometimes they got something inside them which has to come out, and I'll just sit there and listen. Right. Even if it's family problems, my husband this, my kids that. Yes. They need an outlet, exactly. And I've become the outlet.
Right. Right. And you know what? You said you've been a talker. Now, as a leader, you need to be able to do both, talk and listen.
I have no problem talking.
And it's funny you're saying this, because this is what I learned from my dad. He was an entrepreneur, and when there was trouble in anybody's relationship in his office with anybody, he said, "You come to my office, let's sit." And then he said, "What's wrong? What can I do? What do you need?" He would give them money. He would go out with them, find an apartment. He would buy furniture. He would do anything, because if they're happy, they're also good and productive workers, and he knew that. And
I had one guy working for me. He got caught on top of the hill by the police dealing in drugs, so he had to go to court, and the judge said 5 years jail. Well, he had a wife and 2 kids. And I pleaded with the judge, can he do 5 years weekend jail, so at least he can still work, he can keep with his family, and the judge okayed it. But then even 6 months later, when he was still in his probation